We have long marveled at the beauty, grace, and ferocity of the king of the jungle, the lion. But these big cats have struggled to survive in the face of poaching and loss of habitat due to human development. One particular type of lion, the white lion, is in grave danger. And joining us today is Linda Tucker, conservationist and author of Saving the White Lion, One Woman's Battle for Africa's Most Sacred Animal. She is CEO and founder of the Global White Lion Protection Trust that works to save and repopulate white lions in the wild. Linda, thank you so much for being here. And you're almost fresh off the plane. You just flew in from South Africa, where you are promoting your book and doing some other things. You know what? A lot of people are familiar with white tigers, particularly because of Siegfried and Roy out in Las Vegas. They're not familiar with white lions. So give a quick history of this type of lion.
This lion is unique to one region only on Earth. The region is called Tsimavati. In the ancient Changan language, it means the place where the star lions came down. So they were the stuff of myths and legends for forever. And in fact, you mentioned Siegfried and Roy. Siegfried and Roy took some white lions along with their white tigers into their show in Las Vegas. And one would hope that they would be involved in the campaign to return them to their endemic habitat. And
it's important to note that these white lions, they're not albino. It's not that they don't have melanin. They're literally a different color. And there's a bit of controversy about whether or not they are a subspecies, a different breed, if you will, from the traditional tawny lion.
Absolutely. Well, conservationists today are fighting for the survival of the tawny or the golden lion. 50% of the trophies coming out of Africa are going into the States, and 75% of African range states which had lions no longer have lions. So that's a very serious figure. But the white lion is the most endangered of the lot. So with everyone fighting for the survival of the species, they've forgotten about a particular rarity of the species. And our scientists in my organization have discovered that the species has a genetic code, the genetic marker that makes it unique. So through that mechanism, we are going to be campaigning to give it special status so that we can ensure the survival of this critically endangered animal.
You know, there are some that are not entirely on the same page. How do you make the case for this effort to conserve this particular animal, especially for those who just say it's really not as serious as one would like us to believe?
Well, I would think they need to get their facts right. First of all, it is critically serious to the cultures of Africa, and that is reason enough to protect an animal. Cultures such as the Tsonga, the Sepedi, the Bushman, the Xhosa, the Zulu, all regard this animal as a sacred animal. So, you know, I think scientists need to sit up and be more respectful of indigenous cultures.
And the numbers are critically low. There are, I believe the last figure I saw, 500 white lions worldwide in captivity. And that's such a teeny tiny number. And I know that you all have worked to reintroduce white lions back into the wild. Tell me about those efforts and how successful you've been.
Absolutely, and the figure you give, it's a very sad figure to be counting animals in captivity. It's like saying, you know, so many humans in jails. You know, as a figure, we need to look at the survival of a species or a subspecies or a variation like the white lions in its natural habitat, because that is creation, that is nature as it's meant to function. So the white lion, in fact, is the apex predator of a whole ecosystem. You protect the white lion, you protect its entire ecosystem. It occurs in an area that was regarded as protected by the United Nations, called the Kruger to Canyons biosphere. And it is unique to that area. So, you know, conservationists today realize that you protect the apex predator, and through that you protect the whole food chain. It's like a pyramid of life. If the apex predator is in trouble, it means your entire ecosystem is at risk.
Tell us about the lions that you're watching. Have you successfully reintroduced some into the wild and how they're doing?
Absolutely. We've introduced 3 different prides and they are doing fantastically. So again, there's this prejudice that white lions can't survive in the wild, that they have no camouflage. I'm afraid that is put out by people holding them in cages to justify keeping them in captivity. They are They survive perfectly in the wild, and in fact, there's a scientific paper coming out now which shows that their predation techniques equal or match or exceed, in fact, the golden lions of that region.
Linda, the threat to the white lions, you mentioned poachers, but is part of this also lack of awareness, lack of education for those who may not have a direct connection to the various communities that are affected by having this animal survive and thrive? How then could they or we get involved?
That's an excellent point. The threat to them is a lack of education as well. So our organization is a community-based conservation organization. You can't just conserve nature, you have to look at the communities who ultimately need to be empowered to conserve their heritage. So at least half of our efforts are in raising education in the it's a poverty area of South Africa, the local communities, but they are recognizing that this is their heritage, and in doing so, they actually invite an upliftment of the economy in that region. The white lions represent wealth if they're embraced as a cultural heritage, and that's what we're helping to create in the region, is a renaissance of culture.
And very quickly to that point, some education needs to be done in the Timbavati region, because the white lions were only discovered, what, 50, well, maybe 70 years ago, back in the 30s, is that correct?
Exactly.
Yeah, and then quickly became extinct because of poaching and hunting and loss of habitat. So there's work to be done globally.
There certainly is. I mean, it's shocking to think that people are still hunting the lions of that region, even though there are only 9 recorded individuals in that region.
Wow.
How can they not be protected by law locally and internationally? So that's what I'm here in the States to do. And this is Endangered Species Day, as you know. That's why I'm here with you. Not only should they be protected in South Africa, but they need to be protected in every country on the globe that is holding them in captivity.
Well, Linda Tucker, we thank you so much for coming on, bringing some beautiful pictures of beautiful lions, and we wish you well.
Thank you.
Take care.